the biggest mistake I've made throughout my career was thinking that people more successful than me must be better than me. They must be doing some magical shit I haven't figured out yet, or have some unattainable skill that I couldn't possibly possess. The reality is, this is not true.
All right, guys, welcome to the Midi Money Podcast. Super excited. Today we have, somebody who I have been a fan of, have been following for a really long time. I'm gonna just start to read off of your website because you've done so much. It'll just I don't even know. So let's see. Clinton Sparks is an entrepreneur, investor, executive, author, committed father and husband, leading edge innovator when it comes to integrating culture, collaboration, cross-platform marketing. Grammy nominated, multi-platinum DJ, producer, songwriter responsible for selling over 75 million records. And that's paragraph 1 of like 10 paragraphs.
I love the committed father part. That out of all titles, my favorite title is dad.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's it's important to know what the most important things are.
Yeah. Man, I'm happy to be here. Gabe, Legion, Schillinger. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that, man. That was really flattering. I blushed. You couldn't tell because it's too bright in here. But thank you so much for having me here.
Man, it's like I said, I'm super excited because you're somebody who's had a ton of success on the, quote unquote industry side, but also somebody who's been an innovator and had a ton of success as an entrepreneur and always pushing the boundaries of what we can do. And that's kind of the space I've been playing in more recently that I get real excited about, is that kind of convergence of those two things of music, the creative, the art, plus the business, the marketing, the entrepreneurship.
I think I've always had an entrepreneurial, independent mind state, even going through the industry, which really separated me from everybody else. I never got caught up in the politics. I never got caught up in I was never even someone that even needed to be at like the it party. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never felt that way. It goes back to also when I was a kid, I was a lonely like loser, like when I was a kid, right? So I didn't have any friends, and like music was my best friend. My radio was my best friend. So when I started to gain some success, or even prior to gaining success, when I knew music was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I started telling people to get familiar with me, I naively didn't even realize that I could actually lose. So when I had set out to doing what I wanted to do, I was just going to do it. Like, I was going to get it done. Like, there wasn't a, what if it doesn't work? Or what if no one likes me? Or what if no one takes my call? Like, because I never had a mentality that I couldn't win. So if somebody didn't take my call or didn't like me, that's cool. I'm going to figure out another way. You know what I mean? And, for a lot of entrepreneurs, or not even entrepreneurs, just people trying to make connections or build a network or find people to collaborate with or make friends. You know what I mean? Like, making friends. It's like, all right, if you guys don't like me, then somebody will. And it's just like, as an artist, like, a lot of people chase other people's audiences. And when they're not getting attention from their audience, they feel like they failed. And it's like, dude, that's not your audience. There's an audience for you. You just got to go find them.
Right. Yeah, man. No, having that confidence, I think, is a huge help. It's honestly, for me, is not my experience. I'm always second guessing and overthinking, and then sometimes that becomes my strength because I overthink things so much that I build this crazy process and it works. So I think that's part of the thing, is everybody's journey is different, but I would much rather just be confident and not be worried.
Well, like I said, I don't know if it was confidence or just naivety, because I was, I didn't know better, I guess. I'm just like, because I just watched people be assholes. You know what I mean? Like, throughout my whole life, even as a kid, and then even getting into the music industry, I'm like, man, there's a lot of dicks in here. And I used to, so let me just start from the beginning when I started, right? So I was a producer and an artist, right? So I was a rapper, a dancer, and a producer. DJing wasn't even part of the plan at all. So I'm making beats for all like the local artists. I'm winning talent shows locally in Boston, is where I'm from. And then I'm remixing popular songs. So I become friends with the local DJ on the big radio station there. I'm starting to give him remixes like, yo, this is dope. You could play this in your mix. And from day one, early on, from when I was a kid, I always understood the value of being a value add to somebody else, right? Instead of asking to give to me, it was like, what can I give to you? And it was just an innate thing that I had, that I knew the more you do for others and the more you service and give out, it's all going to just come back without you even asking, right? And I've been proven right over and over and over again. So back then I used to make remixes, and when artists would come to town, I'd go chase them down and get drops for this DJ, right? Because I wanted to help make him dope. If I made him dope and he's a friend of mine, then I know that that ups my odds of getting my records played on his mix show.
Nice.
So that's how I started my career, was really doing things for everybody else. And then one day I'm in the radio station with him, and he's on with record label executives. And he's like, hey, my boy Clinton Sparks, he produced a remix to your record, and da 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 da. And then I kept hearing over and over again, oh yeah, cool, cool. Hey man, you gonna play my record? So I realized like they didn't give a shit about this white kid from Boston that they didn't know, that was making hip hop remixes to songs. Um, and at that moment is when I was like, aha, I must become a DJ. If I become a DJ, I now hold the power, because they'll want to be my friend to play their records. And now they'll give me at least a courtesy listen when I want to play stuff to them, because now I hold the power of breaking their artists on my radio. So now my next step was, how do I get on the radio? So I kept asking this guy that, I was doing all this work for and claimed to be my friend. And one day the program director, which is the guy in charge at radio stations, he walks in and he says, because I was already doing the funny skits for the morning show. Like I was part of the family of the whole station. So you would have thought I worked there. And I was the funny guy on the morning show. And like I said, I'd help this guy with his mixes and stuff. And then one day the program director comes in and says, Clint, why are you not mixing on our radio station? And in my mind, I'm like, this is it. My big break. I'm going to get on the radio. And my friend, right, who this whole time was telling me like, I'm trying to get you on, man. Like, it'd be dope if you were here with me. Literally in front of all he had to say was like, this is awesome. Yes, thanks, Cadillac. That was the name of the PD. Clinton, you start next weekend. It was that easy. Instead, he goes, oh man, I gotta see if I gotta check on the schedule. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. You're my friend for the past couple of years. I've been doing everything. You keep saying you want to bring me on your team. The boss just literally said yes. And that was, I guess you could say, until this moment, I didn't realize that was the first shady shit I dealt with in the music industry. Because I'm I'm an awesome friend, right? If you're my friend, like I'm your friend, right? And like friendship means something to me. So like I would never ever dick somebody over. I would never promise something and not deliver. I will lose money before I dent my reputation, and I have in the past. You know what I'm saying? Because people just didn't understand the way that when I was like, you know what, you keep all the money. I don't even care. And now I'm struggling, but I don't want someone to be able to go say, this dude fucked me out of money, even though I didn't, but his whack perception would go tell the world that I did. So rather than even risk my reputation, I'll just take no money, you take it all. So I've been like that from the beginning. And when that happened, then a new radio station opened in Boston, and they kept asking me, Hot 97.7, they kept asking me to come over there. And before they even launched, I kept going to my friend saying, hey dude, the station wants me over there. He's like, oh, let me figure some things out, back and forth. And then they asked me again. I go, dude, they keep asking me, what am I going to do? He goes, don't worry, I almost got you. Then the third time the station called me, I go, you know what? Give me a couple hours. I drove to him and I was like, look, dude, I know you're probably threatened by me because I'm fucking dope. Right. And I go, but I'm not trying to dethrone you or take your place. I just want to be part of your team. You can put me on at 2 a.m. on Sunday night just to have me here and keep me here. This is my family and who I want to be with. And I want to rock with you. Me being dope will only make you doper, right? I go, there's no reason to feel threatened by me, man. Like, I'm a team player. I don't care who hits the home run as long as we win the game. And so, you know what his first line was to me after me saying that? You would have thought that he'd be like, all right, Clinton called me out. He's right. Maybe I shouldn't feel threatened, or this is my friend. He goes, if you go there, we'll still be friends. And I'm like, why would we not be friends? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even thinking about we will be enemies now.
Right.
But anyways, I go over there and then I end up shitting on him, like not literal, not verbally, but going on there and the whole city fucks with me and no one fucks with him. And it did
Right.
exactly like what I said was going to happen. And then to even top that, so I was like the number 2 on that radio station. There was another guy who was like the number 1, the funk flex, if you will. And I was the enough of the station, if you will. And so like, yeah, I would hear the guy on my station and that guy that I used to be friends with always kind of shitting on each other and throwing shots on the radio. Now we're all buddies. So I take them out to dinner one night. I go, do you guys consider yourself friends? And they were like, yeah. So they were like, I go, then why are you always shitting on each other? Because they'd be like, I'm number 1 in New England. I'm number 1 in Boston. I'm the greatest DJ. And it always, you could tell they were taking shots at each other. So when I go, why do you guys always shit on each other? And they're like, no, we don't. And I go, and I gave them examples. They started laughing when I was like, you guys aren't really friends. And I go, let me tell you what's going to happen. Well, you guys are worrying about, and by the way, there's a moral to this story, and I'll tell you in a second. Well, you guys are worrying about being number 1 in Boston and feeling like you have to destroy that person in order for you to be a winner. I'm going to shit on both you guys and surpass you both just by actually being dope. Right. And I go, I don't have to say I'm dope. The streets and my work will say that I'm dope. And I ain't worried about you guys. I'm worried. You guys are trying to be best in Boston. I'm trying to be the best in the world. So just my mindset is already fucking surpassed what you guys are thinking. Right. And, you know, and they're my friends. So like, I'm not talking, I'm being matter of fact, and it might sound like I'm being an asshole to them, but when you're really good friends with people, you can be honest and that you're not an asshole. So I'm talking to them like they're my friends. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. And it happened. One went off to go be a soccer coach. The other one ended up going bankrupt, asking me for money years later. Like, I should have listened to you. And it's like, just the moral of the story is, 1, always just focus on your goals and don't worry about other people. 2, just do the right thing and be honest. 3, mean what you say and say what you mean. And 4, just keep working to be fucking dope. Don't worry about what that guy got for placements, how much money he's getting, what he's doing over there, what that guy. My goal was to be the best and my goal when I started was a 5-year plan to just make industry people answer my call and know who I am. That was my goal. Within 2 years, I already won Mixtape DJ of the Year in New York. I won Mix Radio Show of the Year in Puerto Rico at the Mix Show Power Summit. I'm already producing for major labels. I'm already expanding my radio show. I opened up the biggest mixtape site in the world, mixunit.com. So like, that was in 2 years. And I had a 5-year plan. So there's no better feeling than being able to like have to redo your plan because you completely fucking dominated and shit on your own plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, bro, there's so many gems in there. And by the way, I do want to make sure we mention this early. You've got some dope stuff where people can really take in these gems. I know you've got a workshop, and so we're gonna work on something to where we're actually gonna give people a bunch of free stuff just for taking that. So if they go to legionbeats.com/winbig, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that before we go any further. But man, so many gems.
And not only can they get my workshop through you, they can also, and this is exclusive only through Legion. If you get my workshop, you also get my book, How to Win Big in the Music Business, forward written by Damon John. This is the quintessential modern day, how to do more dope shit and less whack shit, how to build a sustainable and scalable business. Look how thin this shit is. This isn't full of legal jargon that you don't understand. You get lost. It's fatiguing to read. Legion read it. He knows. It just gets to the point. This is how you win, right?
Bro, the book is so dope. Honestly, like, I don't want this to sound insulting, but it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I know that sounds like an insult, but like, I know you're, so successful in all these other places. And so I don't know if you're going to be a great author, I don't know. I wouldn't assume you would be. Bro, it's amazing. Like the way you start it, where you start on like, okay, here's like an interesting story that brings them in. It's not like you start at the very, beginning. You start with the action and the way that you hook, and start those open loops. And bro,
let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of the first line of
Yeah,
this
that's
book,
what I'm
right?
talking about. Yeah.
The first line of this book. And a lot of you guys can relate. So just in case you didn't pay attention or hear what Legion said, like, I'm sure there's a lot of songwriters and producers and artists on here. Guys, I sold over, let me break it down real quick. I'm multi-platinum, Grammy nominated songwriter, producer, DJ. I've worked with everybody from Rick Ross to T.I. to 2 Chainz to Big Sean to Snoop Dogg to Ludacris to Akon to Gaga to Beyonce, Kanye, Eminem. I signed and discovered DJ Snake in 2007. I put him together with Little John. We made Turn Down for What, a bunch of records. So this is what I've done. I've had record deals as an artist. I've been a manager that's got my artist deals. I've had publishing deals. I've had all kinds of, I've done everything, guys. So I'm not someone that's just done one thing and now I wrote a book trying to teach you how to actually do everything. I've actually done everything and I've dominated everything and I've won at everything. I've made millions of dollars doing all these things, traveling the world, working with the biggest artists in the world. Now, I'm not saying it to flex. I'm saying that because you have to pay attention to the messenger, not just the message. And we all know in Legion, I'm sure you know, there's a lot of people out here with a message that sounds real on the internet, but most people are full of shit and they don't know what they're talking about. And they're just reading or they're hearing things and they're giving information exchange, right? They haven't actually lived it. They actually haven't done it. They can tell you the basic stuff that you could Google and figure out, right? But they don't tell you the emotional things you're gonna have to go through. They don't tell you when you're gonna have to pivot. They don't have the experience of what really happens when this happens. It's all hearsay, right? It's different when I tell you a story about something about Michael Jordan. But if Michael Jordan tells you about the story about Michael Jordan, it's completely fucking different story, right? So, and that's basically what I'm getting at. So here's the first line of the book. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this. We all go through this. The biggest mistake I've made throughout my career was thinking that people more successful than me must be better than me. They must be doing some magical shit I haven't figured out yet or have some unattainable skill that I couldn't possibly possess. The reality is, this is not true. And then I go on, I start explaining it to you. But like, we all go through that, man. We all feel like, man, what are they doing? Like, how are they getting that? Like, you'll hear a beat or you'll see a producer, you'll be like, how the fuck is he getting placements? My shit is way better, right? And it's because you're comparing the wrong things. And I explain it all in my book that you'll get when you go through this special deal with Legion, where you get my 3-day workshop. And with that workshop, you're also going to get a copy of my book that it will change your life. It'll change your future. It'll change the way that you think. It'll change the way you operate. And I'll tell you this, it'll give you 100% more advantage and leverage over people that haven't read this book.
For real. And I didn't even know you're going to throw that in there too. So yeah, legionbeats.com/winbig. Not only do you get all that, we've got a bunch of cool bonuses, free stuff that we're throwing in there as well. Yeah. And the book is so dope. And you're right. It is different. Like, there are people that sell information that they learned, right? And I think that's what gives, people are very skeptical of anybody who's teaching anything, right? Because there are people who do that, who just literally like learn something and then give you a half-assed version of it. To me, I want to look at, just like you said, has this person actually accomplished this thing? And also, has this person actually helped other people accomplish that thing too? That's really important as well.
And by the way, not to shit on those people that, are able to get all this information, package it and sell it to you. I mean, why do you pay a lawyer? They just have information that you don't have, right? It's the same thing, right? So I'm not mad at those people, but I'm saying they just can't equip you for the things, the real life scenarios and situations. They haven't actually went through it. They haven't actually dealt with the situations that you're going to have to deal with. They haven't really built a sustainable, scalable, successful career in the music business. They've built a business selling information about the business. You know what I'm saying? But they haven't done things in the business. So that's the difference from what this is than what you would typically see out on the internet.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it ties in with everything you were just saying too, of giving real value. Like, it's something, like, I almost hate that term because I feel like people say value, give value, that it's kind of lost its meaning. But like what you're talking about in that story, it's giving value, right? That you're getting drops from artists for this other DJ. That's real value. You're proactively giving them something that's going to help them, right?
Right.
And so I think that's so important to look at. And long term, it's even if you are completely selfish, it's just a better long-term strategy. Just like your story shows, these other two guys were not doing that. They were looking out, only for what's best for them. They were trying to put other people down. They thought they had to have success at the expense of other people, as opposed to, hey, if I help you, you're going to help me. We're all going to rise up together, which to me, long term is not only the best way to succeed, but the only way.
It's essential, and it's essential for longevity. It's essential for building a powerful network. It's great. Look, it's the way to build such a reputation that people talk about you when you're not even in the room, right? And I hear that all the time, like, oh man, we were just talking about you last week. Da-da-da. I was at a meeting and somebody brought you up, and da-da. It's because I spent my entire career doing good and helping others. Like you couldn't destroy my reputation at this point. There's not anybody that you could walk through in an industry and be like, yo, Clinton Sparks. There isn't a single person that'd be like, yeah, dude's an asshole. It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like I literally changed the environment of my city. You know what I mean? In Boston, for people now, when you go to a label or something, like, oh, do you rock with Clint Sparks? I did that throughout my career, and I did it. Not for my ego. I did it because I want other people to win. I want to be able to build a blueprint or build a path that other people can go down and not have to go through the same bullshit. Look, if I already went through the bullshit, why would I'd be a super dick if I'm like, nah, you go through that bullshit too. Like, right. I'm going to be like, no, here's the way to not have to go through that bullshit. So you can win, because you know why? I'm not threatened by anybody. Just because you're dope doesn't make me less dope. And by the way, me highlighting or being able to showcase more dope makes me even doper, because it shows how dope I am at being able to recognize dope. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, no, it's just that mindset thing. And I think there's so much, it's like that scarcity mindset, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm afraid to tell people about this other person because they're going to like them better. Or, I feel like I have to keep this person down, where it's the opposite. The more you help people, the more they can come up, and the more we can all come up together.
Like even producers, like, yo, share beat packs, share kits, tell them like tricks, like do collabs. Like all the producers that work with me, like there'll be times I don't even know. Everybody used to go through me, right? And it's like, yo, I did this, and now I'm like, all right, let me send it over to him so he can work on the keys and da-da-da. Now it's like they'll just be working on stuff. I'll get it back, and he'll be like, oh yeah, I had keys throw the drums on here, and Lux did this and da-da-da. And I'm like collaborative effort is gonna get you further. You don't win, the NBA or the NBA championship or a Super Bowl with one player on the field. You know what I'm saying? You don't learn. And like, this is why people like me and Legion come together, because you can't learn and get a full education from one professor, right? So it's like, you're going to learn things from Legion that you wouldn't learn from me, and vice versa, which is why I'm excited to partner up with Legion on not only just this package, but on other things that we're going to do together. Because one, I love working with other dope people, right? And two, if we can figure out ways that we can come together and maximize those efforts to help other people, so more people have a shot and don't have to go through, Legion's story of, thinking what's he going to do, or trying to get beats off and for 10 years and then finally having to figure it out, right? But it took him a long time to figure it out. It took me some time to figure it out. Like they say it all the time, like, overnight success is 10 years, which is true. But most people that have that overnight success don't last another 10 years because they're not educated, because they don't do good business. So even if you do finally make it after 10 years, 90% of you guys are going to fall the fuck off because you're assholes, or you're feeling yourself, or you outprice yourself, or you start getting an ego, or you like, I watch it all the time. This isn't my opinion. It's fucking facts. I watched it all. I can't tell you how many artists I'm like, he won't be here next year. And he's not. Like, it happens over and over again. I don't think I've ever been wrong, to be honest. I don't think there's ever been a prediction I made that was wrong based off. And that, by the way, it's not because I'm fucking Superman. It's because I pay attention and I care and I have experience, and I really, really dissect and assess my experience. I'm not a part of things without really, really being analytical about it. So I really care about people. I care about an experience. I care about outcomes. And I care about helping others.
Yeah, man.
Just like you do, Legion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very impressive, the level of self-awareness, and then also the strategic planning that you've done from the beginning. Like you said, you started with this 5-year plan. And I think there's, you already know, most people in music don't have any real plan. They think they have a plan, but their plan is, I'm just going to make dope music, and somebody's going to come save me. A manager's going to come save me. A label's going to come save me.
Yo, the more hot beats I make, the more hot records I make, the more I get a shot at somebody. Like, bro, even if you make the hottest beats in the world, or you're the hottest singer, rapper, whatever you are, making hot shit is part of your job, of becoming success. And by the way, a lot of times, not even the most important part. Because guess what? You know how many dope producers are in their bedroom or got killer beats in their laptop that we'll never fucking hear? They can be all dope all day for the next 20 years and look back at their life and be like, damn, man, this beat would have been dope if this person was on it. Damn, if I only got to that person, this beat could have been a hit. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Because all you thought is you needed to make hot shit. What you need to do is understand the music industry and how to build a business. You need to learn how to build the business of you. You're a business. You're a brand. If you don't know how to build a business or a brand, then you'll never be able to be successful. And you got to treat yourself accordingly. And by the way, any proper business or brand in the entire world, they pay millions of dollars to do research and development, to hire people that can, vet all the things for them to make the right decisions. Like, you got access to people like Legion, access to people like me and a couple other people out there that have legit, products to sell. You're never going to find this kind of stuff from legitimate people. I know the people online that half the people that are online that are trying to like slang shit, because now the independent artist is the new hype thing that you can try to make money off of, because there's never been a better time. I even heard you say this in your video, never been a better time to be someone trying to build a business with music than there is right now. The independent music business is a multi-billion-dollar industry. All the tools, everything you need to build your own record label, right, is at your fingertips, right? You can literally build it yourself. You don't need a record label. It's not bad to have it depending on your situation and what needs you have. So I'm not dissing record labels either, because there are some people like, yeah, fuck a label. They just use us as slaves. It's like, nah, it's not true, bro. It's not true. You're listening to dumb motherfuckers telling you a dumb deal that they did because they were too stupid to know what they were supposed to do when they went in to negotiate a deal, because they didn't have this kind of information. Right. So, I feel like I could talk for an hour, Legion. I don't want to keep over talking.
No, I love it. It's gems, and it's the motivation that people need, because the tools are out there, but you got to be willing to do it. And a huge part of that is mentorship. I spent $50,000 on coaching just last year. Right. And the reason why is because I want to learn from people who have done the things that I want to do. Right. And I understand that, hey, this person has spent 10 years, 20 years to learn that. Right. And they can compress that timeline for me. Time is our most precious resource. There's nothing more precious, right? There's no amount of money that will buy you more time. Right. Money replenishes. There's more money. There's always more money. You make more money next week. So anything, if I can exchange my money for compressing that timeline and make it smaller, that's always a good deal, right? They say time equals money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. If you can use your money to make time faster, if you can speed up that process and learn the things that Clinton Sparks has learned from his, now however long, you've been doing this kind of stuff, like, of course it should be a no-brainer, and there's no excuse now. It's like, the information is there. You just gotta grab it and go.
To your point, like just using me as a reference, there could be somebody else that's like, yeah, I worked at Rockefeller, I was at Bad Boy, I worked at Interscope Records and da-da-da, therefore you should listen to me. Don't be fooled by that, man, because first of all, 90% of the people that worked there doesn't mean they were successful. They had a job. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean they did anything impacting that could help you or change your life. And that's what I see a lot of people like. You'll see either people that were on the fringe of record labels that claim they did some stuff, or old music executives that could never build a ClickFunnels. They wouldn't even know what a ClickFunnels is, right? They would never understand the logistics of what it takes to build a real, by the way, they don't even know how to build their own business. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't even know how to build a ClickFunnels, how to run the appropriate ads, they don't even understand anything about the logistics of what it takes to run their own business. They just think, I'm just going to run some IG ads, boost my posts. And maybe some of you guys even think this too, boost my posts, have a stale website, and hope people, by the way, I seen that in your video where you started off, here's my website, go to my website, buy my shit. But like, they don't even know how to like capture an audience. They don't know how to build lookalike audiences. Like, they don't understand any, they don't know how to continue to give value to you. So if they can't build their own business, I always say, I don't care if it's me, Legion, whoever it is, if you're going to treat yourself like a business and you're going to shell out money for something, you must always do research. always do research. And it's not hard to go look and see the receipts of somebody like me or Legion, see who they've helped, see how long they've been here, see what they're doing, see who endorses them. And those are the things that you're like, okay, this person's official. You go look me up, you're going to be like, fuck, this dude's been killing it for 20 years and still killing it today. I'm not a guy that was killing it 10 years ago, and now I'm trying to come up again off independent artists. To be honest, I don't even need to do this. You know what I'm saying? I run two companies. One is a company I just took to $1 billion valuation. I do this because it's I love to do it. I love to help people. I want to be a part of this. It's what I've been my whole life, is a giver and a server of others, right? Of course, I'm going to make money. So if someone's sitting there like, then why are you charging for your book? I got overhead, bro. Like you think I'm going to pay to manufacture this book and then pay to ship it to you too? You think I'm going to pay the cameraman? And you know what I'm saying? Now you're asking me to give you money on top of giving you all this information in this game. But to Legion's point, man, like information that he has or I have is like literally going to save you a world of headache, get you there so much faster, and give you so much more ammunition to know how to deal with situations when they arise. And the first thing I'll say for anybody here, because you had mentioned that, people they're just kind of doing whatever. I'm just making beats. I'm just running around. I'm just seeing if I can make something happen. The first thing you must do, if you take yourself serious and you're really trying to build a career, is make a plan for your career. You have to sit down and write what your plan is for your career, and a realistic plan, not something that's unrealistic, so much so that when you don't achieve those goals, you feel deflated and defeated and you feel like it's impossible. You have to set realistic goals and then work hard to achieve each one, and then celebrate every little victory, celebrate them all. But one of the most important things too is when you make a plan, you must also plan to fail. If you don't plan to fail, you won't know how to deal with it when it happens, and it's going to happen over and over. So you need to write the shit down. Look at it. Like, how can you keep score? How can you keep score of the game if you ain't writing it down? You don't even know how many more yards you got to run. You don't know what score they got, what you got, if you're losing or winning. You have to keep track of your little victories every day. I connected with 2 new other producers today. Boom, little victory. I got a placement with Legion. Victory. Boom. I made $200 today. Victory. Everything's a victory. Stop aiming for the $1 million number or whatever it is you got in your head, right? Because all you're going to do is let yourself down every day, and you're going to feel like it's fucking impossible. If you set realistic goals, and then it's like climbing a ladder. Okay, I did this week. I did this that week. I did this week. And make realistic. Start small. 10 new fans this week, right?
Yep.
Easy. All you got to do is put the effort and time in there. Start reaching out to people, DMing other producers, artists. Yo, I got some beats. Can I send you a beat pack? Blah, 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 blah. And then I got 10 new followers this week. It's a fucking victory. Boom. And that is how you win, guys. You don't build a house without doing it one fucking brick at a time or one piece of wood. Before you know it, you got a fucking mansion.
Yeah, momentum. Momentum is such a key thing, I think, as a creative person, as an entrepreneur. And the way that you get momentum is by having those wins and celebrating them and recognizing them. It's so easy to do a bunch and like you said, like, okay, my goal eventually maybe is make $1 million, right? And if you're just staring at that, you don't realize, oh, wait a second, if I look back, damn, I really did accomplish a lot. And if you don't do that, you don't have momentum. But if you set that goal, hey, I'm going to reach out to 10 people today, and you hit that goal, bam, now I'm in momentum. Now I'm going to run through that one. Now I'm going to set the next goal. Bam, I'm going to run through that one. And another piece that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't want to finish it. I'll finish your thought.
I was just going to say another piece, so celebrating those wins and then also having a community to celebrate those wins with is also key, because with people who understand what it takes to do that as well. So other, your peers, other producers, other artists, other, so that's another thing is the mentorship and the community are two things that I think are key.
All right. I'm going to give you the part that you can cut as a clip right now for socials. Ready? A message to all producers: stop sitting on your hottest beat waiting for a major artist or for a major placement. Do you know what is bigger and will make you more successful than sitting around waiting to get that killer beat that you have that is going to be a hit? Everything in your soul is telling you, if you can just get this to this artist, it's going to be a hit. You know what's even bigger than that? you taking that same beat and making a nobody a superstar with your beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like, look how many people became stars because they put an artist on.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of times producers are sitting there like, nah, this is too dope. It's too dope to sell for $200 for this artist. It's too dope to do with this. It's like, no, it's first of all, that must mean you're kind of whack. Because if you can't make more dope shit like that, you're holding on to that one dope beat, then you're not as dope as you think you are. Make dope, put it out. 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 That's what you need to do. You put out 300 songs this week with a bunch of nobodies. I mean, this year with a bunch of nobodies. 2 of those nobodies might end up breaking on Spotify, and it was because of you. Guess what happens next? Yo, who did your track? The label's going to ask that. That artist is going to come back. Other artists are going to ask that. Just keep putting out dope, guys.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And there's so much, it's as artists, as creatives, it's easy to be a perfectionist and be like, okay, I'm gonna launch this beat pack once I have 20 beats that are dope enough. Like, I just need to make another 10 beats. I need to make another 10 beats. But what ends up happening is you keep working on that craft of just your music and keep trying to make more and more. Unless you put that out and work on that craft of entrepreneurship and getting that feedback and putting those things out in the world, then you're never going to get good at this other skill set that's so important. It's the reason why I'm where I am today. It's
Right.
you know, it's part of the reason why you're where you are today, not just because you're dope at music, but because you're also an incredible entrepreneur and marketer, and you understand those principles and you've practiced them. Really, you know,
Thank you.
we've talked about mentoring, we've talked about celebrating those wins and having a community. But really also it's implementing, it's doing it. So getting the information first is great, but it's doing it. And like you said, failing, learning, doing it again, and not being afraid to repeat that process over and over.
I agree with it all, Legion. I agree with it all.
Yeah,
and by the way, we're our own worst critic. You're always going to think you can make more better shit next week. You're always going to make shit and then be like, nah, those beats from last week are whack. I ain't going to shop those ones. These new ones are better. Like, stop playing yourself that way too, because that's just your opinion. Like, you know how many artists put out records that they didn't even like and it was their biggest record? Like, it happens all the time. So you're thinking, those 4, how many times have you been in a session, you're playing a beat and you play like the first like 2 notes and you skip it and the person goes, no, play that, run that back. What was that? How many times that happened to you, Legion? Right?
Oh, yeah. It's always, like, a lot of times it's the one that you think is
right. And because you were like, nah, but yo, that artist might be thinking about something different than you're thinking about. Another thing, producers, because I know you talk to a lot of producers, stop trying to remake what was already made. Here's what I mean. If you find out Rihanna's working on a new album and you're like, yo, let me go in the studio and make a new beat and you're like, yo, wouldn't this sound dope for Rihanna? Yeah, it already did on her last album. If you're a real producer, your job is to stretch them and bring them somewhere new, not so foreign that they won't get it. It's got to have a little bit of familiarity of what they're used to, but you got to stretch and bring them somewhere new and help them grow and evolve. That's your job as a producer, not to just carbon copy something that's already been done. Most artists don't want to do the same shit they've already done. They need a dope producer with vision to say, all right, I'm going to show you where we're going to go next. And that's what being a really great producer is. A beat maker is different than a producer. And that's another thing that we should address. A beat maker is someone that knows how to make beats, and they know how to sequence, and they know how to sample, and they know how to program, and they make a beat. A producer is someone that can do all that, plus have the vision to know how to sell and bring the right people involved and A&R the record and bring the right singer in and know the melodies that need to go here and know where to drop things out and bring them back in and stuff like that. By the way, a producer can also not know how to do everything that a beat maker can do and still be a producer, because a producer is really the visionary that knows what to do with all these pieces. Perfect example of someone that was once a beat maker and then just became a producer. DJ Khaled. He's a phenomenal producer. He's not someone that's in there tapping out the beats for everybody, but he knows how to produce the record to get the finished product and make it go to market, because he's the one that put, Ben Baller or Dre or Dara and add this to this. Yo, can you put this over here? Yo, can you add this? Yo, Wayne, can you put this for Drake? He's the magic that's putting it all together, because the beat maker didn't have that vision. The beat maker doesn't have those connections. The beat maker doesn't know how to make these plays. So when sometimes beat makers get mad at like people that don't make beats, but they're still called the producer. That is why, because they can do shit that you can't do. They got a different skill, and they can't maybe do what you can do. So, you know, a producer can maybe do both or do this. A beat maker can just do this.
Yeah, and with like your example of DJ Khaled, not only is it the vision of putting the music together, it's the whole vision. It's the marketing vision. It's how is this going to look? How are we going to put it out? How are we going to promote it?
Right.
And
by the way, I meant to say Ben Billions, not Ben Baller. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. You know, and if you think about it, like which skill set is more valuable, right? The guy who can make the beat or the guy who can put it together and sell it?
Well, they're both important. Like they're both important,
of course,
right? But if this guy doesn't have
who
vision,
gets paid more?
Again, it depends. So you'll have the producer who's got the connections and stuff, and sometimes will beast on the beat maker, right? I, on the other hand, perfect example. It's probably right. How do I point to it? This right there, Biggie. So I did the first single on Biggie's Final Chapters album with Bob Marley. It's called Hold Your Head. It was a platinum single, first single off the album. So prior to that, I never let nobody make beats with me. I always felt like you were a fraud if somebody else was making the beat. I come from the realist with like, nah, I don't need no help, right? So like I'm tapping out all the beats and doing everything. My manager kept telling me about this kid named Kamau who went to Berkeley. He's like, you got to work with him. He's awesome. Engineering. He's a great musician. I kept saying no, because I felt like it was whack if somebody else did your beat with you, right? So then I get called. Puff calls me, says, "Yo, come to New York, work on this album." So I finally hit my manager. I go, you know what? Have Kamau come to New York with me. We'll go work on this together. So he comes there, and I made like 6 records. That's the one that landed. And then, so when I get the information for like the splits and publishing and this and that, I submit all the information, and then Kamau calls me a week later. He's like, "Yo, bro, are you serious?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You gave me 50%?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Dude, I was just happy to be there to help and like have the experience." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you should be paid for help, and you helped." And he goes, "Yeah, but 50%? Like you're the reason." I go, "Look, bro, we did it together. I wouldn't have been able to do what I did without you, and you wouldn't have been there without me. It was teamwork, 50-50, enough said." You know, that's how I've been my whole career. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, most people aren't like that. They'll go find a starving deep producer that makes killer fucking beats, and this guy just has a name, and he's like, "All right, here's a deal. I'm gonna give you 10%, and I'm gonna take the rest." And you're a young producer. You're just fucking psyched to get up to be working with these people and get a placement and get a little bit of money, that you play yourself on that, right? But by the way, there's nothing wrong with that either if you have a plan. It goes back to having a plan. If it's part of your plan, I'm going to get fucked my first 4 records, and I know this already, and I don't mind because I know doing this is going to get me to here. And by the way, when I get there, I'm going to be the guy that doesn't fuck anybody after me, right? And like, that's a fucking dope plan. And that's what I did. So when I watched people get screwed, and I was like, yo, I want to build a business and a reputation of being a guy that like is over nice to other people when it comes to doing business. Yo, I've had fights with my lawyer, even with DJ Snake. Like there were, I won't get into details, but there were things where like, you know, Snake wanted certain things. And I was like, all right, let's just do it that way then. And I'd tell my lawyer, he's like, "Are you crazy? Why would you do that? The guy doesn't even speak English and He's not even going to have another hit bigger than Turn Down for What?" Right? We would literally have these fights. And I'd be like, because it's the right thing to do, dude. And he's like, "But you're the one that put him on. You're the one that made these connections." And I go, it doesn't matter. If he wasn't alive, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I did for him. Right? So it's like, we're both players in this game, man. We both win the trophy if we win the game. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? If everybody did business like that, we wouldn't have to worry. Unfortunately, they don't. So you guys that are watching that haven't made it yet, or not at a level to screw somebody else, the odds are you're going to get screwed by somebody. The odds are you're going to have to do some kind of deal that's unfavorable to you if you want to go this specific route. There's another route you can go, which is independent, where you never have to deal with that stuff. But if you want to take other people's resources, money, experience, connections, you're going to get an unfavorable deal. So you just need to know that. And you need to know how to utilize that and really squeeze the shit out of that, already planning to build what your plan was.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And really what, I think as far as who gets paid more, I think it's a testament to how you do business and who you are as a person. But like you said, not all people are like that. And just to give it sort of like another example of a version of this is, we'll do these beat packs, right? And it used to be, me and my buddy Nate, we made all the beats. Now this has grown to the point where I'm focusing a lot more on the business stuff and marketing it and putting it out, and we're working with different producers, right? And so the producers who contribute to that beat pack, who make the beats, they get a percentage of those sales.
Yeah.
But the biggest value to me is the traffickers, the people coming in, right? So like we mentioned, we have a mutual friend, Rob Level, right? So on a beat pack that we did a little while ago, I always like to do 50-50 whenever possible on affiliate stuff, because same thing, like you said, it makes us feel like, okay, we're partners, right? And so he he talked about the beat pack. He did $34,000 in sales of my beat pack. $34,000. We split it. I PayPal'd him $17,000. Now, most of the producers who made the beats on there didn't make that much money because they just got a percentage of the sales, but they're valuable. The art is valuable, but learning that skill set of how can I make it rain? How can I make those connections? How can I bring in an audience?
I got a question, because I'm not familiar with how the beat packs work. Do they still own their publishing rights when that song goes, or do they sell them off? Do they relinquish them?
It can be whatever, you set up whatever you want. With my stuff, it's all non-exclusive. The producer still owns it. So they have that in their back pocket.
That's a super deal for them. If I register my beats and I own them, and you're giving me a vessel to now promote them and get them in the hands of all these artists, that if somebody puts it out and it pops off and I own the publishing of this beat, I'm all for it. Keep pushing my shit out, man. I'll give you 100 beats right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would I not? I don't give a shit about, getting five, but somebody could say, yeah, maybe you don't give a shit about getting $500 or $1,000 up front because you got money, Clinton. But no, I've got to this point of having the money because I've had that mentality from day one. And I gave a lot of shit, and did a lot. I built a lot of people's careers, man. I've been behind a lot of people that are stars today that I don't get the credit, and I damn sure didn't get the money for it, but I don't care, because it was part of me building in my experience and creating a powerful network of people. It's why I can call Rick Ross right now. It's why I can call 2 Chainz. It's why I can call Fallout Boy, or so I can call, like, I'm like 1 degree away from everybody, basically. And it's because of all the things that I'm telling you to do now. I did them. I'm not just telling you to do them because I'm like, well, why don't you just do this? And I make it sound like it's easy, or because, somebody said before, even at the end of my book, I give a whole scenario between me, 2 Chainz, Macklemore, Tommy Lee, and Tyrese, right? And how I had to get a video done. And then I tell the whole story and how I pulled it all together. And I even say in the book, now you might say, yeah, that's fucking easy for you. You're Clinton Sparks. And the answer was, no, I was able to get to a place like that because I'm Clinton Sparks and did the things before I was Clinton Sparks to become Clinton Sparks, to be able to do those things. So when I'm giving you these lessons and telling you, it's not because I'm at the top now and I'm just throwing some bones and saying, hey, why don't you try doing this? And because it's so easy for me now that I'm rich, I'm giving you the blueprint and the strategies and the antidotes that I use and still use today to keep climbing. I've been stuck going like this my whole career. Like, I've never went like this or like this ever, because of the things that I teach in my book and my course and whatnot. And we're talking about here.
Yeah. And go grab that at legionbeats.com/winbig. And I get the same thing, obviously on a smaller scale for me, but people be like, oh yeah, that stuff you're teaching, like, that works for you because you already have a big following, you have a big list, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I wasn't born with a list or a following. I got that following. I got that list. I got that, those customers by doing exactly what
people want your results, but they don't want to have to put in your work.
Yeah. And also it's nice to have an excuse. It's a lot easier to, you get to shut off your brain, right? And you say like, well, he can do that because of blank, and I can't do that. So now I get to just like chill out and just, be okay with not being successful. But if you change it to like, oh damn, there is a blueprint, there is a way to actually do this, I just have to put in the work. That's a little scarier.
That's the problem too. People think because it worked for you, it won't. So that's what I don't teach. This is the one way to do it.
Sure.
right? And that's what a lot of people do, because like what's good for one person isn't good for the other person. Like his way of winning doesn't mean that that's the way that you need to win too. You don't know who he knew, you don't know who he paid, you don't know his background, you don't know what his struggle, you don't know the one connection that he got. Like you don't know, so you gotta. And I talk about this in the book too, man, on what to compare yourself to. Everybody compares themselves. If you like, oh, I'm a better singer than Beyonce and a better dancer, I should be cracking like Beyonce. If that's what you're basing your comparison to, then you're comparing the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce isn't just selling and just performing and singing and dancing. Beyonce is selling a lot more than that. So you need to,
Right.
like a business, really dive into why does this business work? And it's a lot more than just because they got good sneakers. There's a lot of stuff below before you get to that dope ass Nike sneaker or why they're famous. A lot of shit below and in the past. So you
Yeah.
need to understand that. And these are all the things, man. Like I said, I don't mean to keep saying this, but these are all the
Please.
things that you learn in this book. And look, I didn't spend I almost didn't write this book, Legion, because of all the people that are out here scamming. Like I've always been the guy that when everybody else is doing something, I don't want to do it and I run the other way. And one day I was telling Damon John, he goes, "What are you working on?" I think at that time I was building Phase Clan. And then he goes, and I go, "But I want to write this book." And I told him why. And then I told him why I was hesitant to do it. And then he goes, "The reasons why you don't want to do it is exactly why you must do it." He goes, "Because they need a true voice with authenticity that's really done it, that ain't going to feed them bullshit." So that's why he wrote the forward. He's like, "Don't write it without having me do the forward." Right. So not just, he even says it, not anybody can just get me to write a forward to their book. I got to believe in
Sure.
them and what they're doing. So guys, if you want this book that's going to change your life and my workshop, go to legionbeats.com/win big. Get familiar. It's going to change your life. I mean, if Legion hasn't showed you already that he's a real dude that wants to help you guys out, then you might be in the wrong business.
Yeah, man. No, I'm glad you said that about there are different ways to win. And if anybody tells you, oh, this is the only path to do it, then they're full of shit. But I will say that the mentors, the people who I want to listen to are the people who come from principles first, from the strategy behind the tactics, right?
Yep.
Tactics change, tactics are different depending on what you're trying to accomplish,
Right.
but the core values and principles stay the same, right? Like what you're talking about, of always giving value, of helping other people first. All of these concepts, the things that we teach, producers about the same thing. How do you give value first? How do you nurture that relationship with your
Right.
customer? All these types of things. Those are core principles, and those things always work, no matter
Right.
what tactic you're applying to, what technology, what your end goal is.
Yep.
If you can bring it back to what's the principle behind this, what's the psychology,
Yep.
learn that stuff, then you can apply it to anything.
And you got to stop listening to people that have not done the things that you're trying to do. Stop. Your parents, your friends, your homies, somebody you don't know online that's got no credibility. Stop listening to rappers. Stop listening to other people. Stop listening to people that haven't done the things that you're trying to do, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
just like you said, man, you went paid $50,000 on mentorship because you want to hear from the people that actually did it.
Yeah.
And that's why you're gaining all this knowledge. And that's what it is, man. And by the way, talking about serving and adding value to other people, you also got to keep yourself in mind as well. You need to service and value yourself. And if you
Mhm.
service and value yourself by educating yourself, being informed, doing good business, building and treating yourself like a real business and a brand, you're going to go way further than someone that doesn't understand what that even means. Since 2000, I've been calling myself a brand. The first 10 years of my career, everybody would laugh at me. Like, what do you mean you're a brand? You're a fucking guy. And I'm like, no, I'm a brand. From day one, I was Clinton Sparks, get familiar. Just like Nike, just do it. Right. And I knew if I was going to build myself to be a business or a brand, I needed a tagline and I needed to not be emotionally attached to the brand. So I became the CEO of Clinton Sparks. I wasn't Clinton
Mhm.
Sparks. And I
Mhm.
removed my emotion. So if somebody thought I was whack, I didn't get offended. If somebody thought I was the shit, I didn't get a big head. All I did was look at it like market research for being the CEO of this company. Okay, I got to do better over here. And okay, I'm doing great over here. And we got to remove ego. I'll tell you the two things that'll kill everything, guys: ego and greed. If you can get rid of those
Mhm.
things, man, you figured out one of the keys to life.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you this, because we're doing this. We're shamelessly saying go to legionbeast.com/win big,
Yeah.
because I know that the value that's there is going to help people. So one of the things that I come up against a lot teaching producers and artists is they're afraid to sell. And they feel like, you know, they feel uncomfortable doing it. They feel like selling is evil, or bad, or
Or
you know,
cheesy or cringy.
yeah. So I mean, I know my answer, which is basically like, if I know I have value to give and I can help somebody, then I'm actually an asshole if I don't do everything in my power to help them to understand that and buy my course or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, how do you think about that, or how do you address that for artists or producers who are afraid to sell?
Yeah, that's my answer. I just said it like 10 minutes ago. The same exact thing you just said. Like, if I didn't share this blueprint, I'd be an asshole. And then when somebody says, well, if you're so giving and you really want to help independent artists, why are you charging? And it's like right there, it shows me you have no fucking clue about how to build a business. Because I have overhead, dickhead. What do you think? I'm gonna like spend all my own money to like build your business? I've already spent the 20 years getting all this experience. I'm gonna write a book. I'm going to pay for ads. I'm going to manufacture books. I'm going to hire a film crew. I'm going to pay these people to be part of my course. I'm going to build a workshop, do all these things, and then say, here, dude, here, here's somebody that might not even deserve it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, why would I just give it all away for free? Like, if you understand business, then you would understand. Look, I got to a point, I don't know if you're there yet, Legion. I got to a point where I don't even hassle over price anymore. Like I used to negotiate everything. Like knock down everything. No way I'm paying that. I'll get them down. I literally, someone tells me the price. Cool. Where do I send the money? You want to know why? Because as I matured and grew up more too, I realized everybody's got work. Everybody's got bills to pay, and everybody worked hard for what they're selling. Right. And it's like, you're kind of a dick to talk for me to like, for something like when I see somebody under my ad, right? I'll see under my ad sometimes like, this dude's a scammer. And it's like, where the fuck did you, first of all, who are you? Right? Like, what have you done? And then second of all, where are you basing that off of? Like, you did no research. You're a donkey that will never succeed because based off you just, first of all, why would you write something negative about somebody? Second of all, why would you diss somebody's business publicly? Third of all, why would you reveal that you know shit about this person, which subsequently means you're an idiot about doing business because you just shit on somebody that could actually help you with your life and your career. But instead of taking the time, like, man, this dude sounds real, or this is something that I need, let me make sure this dude isn't a scam. You then just assumed he's a scam and wrote something rude. You're taking food off the table for my kids by trying to disrespect my business, by writing something under my ad. Imagine if you posted beats and I went under your beat, like, dude, beat fucking sucks ass. You should jump off a bridge. Like, why would I do that? If I don't like your beat, I just keep it moving. Do you know what I'm saying? Or if I didn't like it, if you really want to be a good dude, or you really want to show the world how clever and smart you are by writing something under an ad, write something constructive.
Sure.
Hey, here's what I feel about this ad. I wasn't compelled to go any further because of this. Somebody like me, I'm going to be like, wow, that could have been a potential customer, but I didn't do something right according to them. Maybe I should modify this. Now, I'm using this example for an ad that you can now transfer this to anything, whether it's your beats, whether it's a business, whatever it is that you guys are doing, just treat people with respect, right? And just be cool. There's no reason to be an asshole to other people. I think that's kind of been the common theme of this entire podcast, right? It's just don't be a dick, right? And really that's what it comes down to. And like, this is why I'm here with Legion. Because, you know, and I did research on Legion. Like, this wasn't overnight. You didn't just call me today and be like, oh, cool, this guy sells stuff. Oh, he's cracking. Like, I don't care if he's cracking. There's a lot of cracking people that are dicks that I want nothing to do with. I've walked away from money from people that I would have made a lot of money, but I don't want to be around them because they're just bad people. And maybe the world doesn't know it yet, but I know it. And I don't want to know, and I can't know that this guy treats people like shit and me consider myself to be a good person knowing that, right? So I heard from Rob Level years ago about Legion. It's been years that I've heard good things about Legion before we got to this point. And because he does good business, which means people talk good about him when he's not even in the room, just like Rob Level did.
Bam. Don't be a dick. That's pretty much, we could have made this whole thing a lot shorter.
We could wrap it up right now. Don't be a dick.
I do. I think we do need to wrap it up because I know your time is super valuable. I just wanted to touch on one more thing too with
Sure.
like paying for stuff. They say, you know, those who pay attention. Those who pay more attention. And so I mentioned I paid $50,000 for mentoring just last year. And guess what? The people that I paid that for, the information they gave me was basically the same information that was in their $10 book, right? But you know, and there's other perks to it. But the point is, and when I spent that money, I said I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I make that money back and more. I have skin in the game. I actually have a, you know, another reason where it's like my back is up against the wall. I better make this worth at least that much, if not more, right? So it's another reason why there's actual value to people paying for that information instead of just receiving it, where they actually won't value it as much, and they're much less likely to actually take action. So I wanted to mention that too.
I agree, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'll tell you this: my course, I'll tell you the price now. I have a course that's $1,000. The stuff you'll learn through those 65 modules is more than you'll learn in any school. And by the way, how many people are teaching at schools that are Grammy nominated, multi-platinum, worked with all the artists, did all these deals? They're not. They're other people that probably wanted to try to succeed in the music business and didn't, right? Or they just want to, they're just teachers, right? You're going to learn more in my course for a fraction of the cost that'll last you a lifetime. And you're going to learn all the shit you could never learn in a school because they don't even teach this in schools. They don't even know how to teach it in schools. Right. So, you know, and I could charge $10,000 for my course. You know that, Legion, right? Mm-hmm. Totally. I could run a whole like day, weekends, this and that, but I want to give people the information. I want them to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I built everything that I built. And we're building a bunch more things that hopefully now that me and Legion are buddies, hopefully I can get Legion more involved because I love what you're doing and I love how you serve people. And I love that people are gaining value and learning a lot of stuff from you and getting real, tangible stuff with the beats and whatnot. So yeah, I'm excited that we've now connected and that we've done this and everything else that we're going to do. Guys, I hope you respect and appreciate this guy as a good dude, man.
Thank you, bro. That means a lot. I've got endless respect for you and what you've done, and appreciate you taking the time. legionbeats.com/win big. And just to clarify, what's there is not that $1,000 course. That'll be later. We got something that, you know, is a little lower ticket just to start, you know, get started, get the book. Right.
We got a 3-day workshop in there, and exclusively getting it through Legion Beats, because anywhere else you can just get the workshop. With Legion Beats, you get the workshop and you get my book. You'll get the digital version of this book, How to Win Big in the Music Business. Like, look, it's a really thin book, guys. Look, what's the back say? Clinton Sparks influences cultures, says Diddy. Clinton doesn't have his finger on the pulse. He is the pulse, says Pitbull. So it's a really thin book, guys. This is really, I even say in the opening, I'm going to teach you how to do more dope shit and less whack shit. So, you know, if you really want to get a quick book, it's a 2-hour read. It's not full of legal jargon that's over your head or you get fatigued reading it. It's really, and by the way, the principles and the values that I teach in this book, I don't care if you're a gamer, if you're an influencer, you're a YouTuber, you're a rapper, singer, producer, DJ, promoter, A&R, manager. It's applicable to all and transferable to all. It's not just for like rappers or singers.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about before. The principles, the strategy, the psychology behind it. It right. applies to anything.
Right.
Man, I appreciate you so much. Appreciate you taking the time. Dropped so many gems. I know everybody listening and watching appreciates it too. Man, where can people find you? What's anything else we should get in before we wrap things up here?
Sure. You can daily game on my Instagram at Clinton Sparks. And I'm at Clinton Sparks, everything, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn. But another thing, if you want to get in touch with me direct at any time, ask me questions, send me a link, get me feedback, get some guidance, whether it's about business or music, you can hit me at five.me/Clinton Sparks. FIVE.me/Clinton Sparks. Get familiar. Man. Thanks, Legion.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, buddy.